Hi, this is the Info Warrior. Saturday morning, we're heading into Chicago. It's a definite crisp day, and we're going to look for police cams, in particular police cameras that are set up so they can look into people's apartments and homes. Hello, we're here on Foster Avenue at Damen. That's on the north side of Chicago. And Amundsen High School is here on the corner. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for this. That's a police camera. You see it's a 360-degree view. And you see the antenna on that? That's so police cruisers can go ahead and dial into this this camera whenever they want from a remote location and see what's going on. Now right across, a few feet away, are people's windows. This police camera, admittedly, according to the Chicago Police Department, will see for 3 blocks. So this is about, I don't know, maybe 10 feet. So you get the idea how far it can see into that apartment. And the apartment below it, and the apartments across the street, as well as these apartments. Now before some ninny goes ahead and says, well, Info Warrior, this is because there's a high school there and we have to protect the children. Well, first, if we wanted to protect the children, as we see on this chimney for the high school, there's not just one cellular array antennae, but rather, a cellular antennae. There's 2 sets. That may not be good for the precious children if we were so concerned with their health. And I'm seeing this more and more in Chicago, where they put just intersection after intersection these cameras so the police can look right in. Here we are, something to show again. This seems to be a theme. You have the chimney with the cellular phone antennas on top of an apartment building. Rather nice apartments. I looked at one many years ago in this building. And here we have a red light camera also at Foster and Western. And then once again we have a camera with a 360-degree angle. There's apartments there. There's apartments there, all in line of sight with the camera. As well as there's apartments there, a house and an apartment building next to the house. Oh, hello. I'm the Info Warrior, and you've been watching my latest video. We'll return to the conclusion of that video in just a few moments. I wanted to touch on the cameras and what we've seen so far in the video. In the first example that I presented, the location was on Chicago's northwest side at the intersection of Foster and Damen Avenue. That is a more recent camera, and it's a smaller unit, but it still has the strobe, as well as the glass dome on the bottom, the Chicago Police Department logo on it, and a long antenna on top of the pole that's connected directly to the unit. The purpose of this antenna, as I stated in the film, was so a police cruiser could be several blocks away where nobody is looking, and they can zoom in via their laptop, tie into that camera, and zoom in, zoom out, adjust it in any of 360 degrees that they want, and anything in line of sight up to 3 blocks can be viewed using that camera. And we see that camera on our screen now. And if you notice the antenna, and that's the purpose, whenever you see that setup, no matter what city you're in, if you see that setup, that's what the police are capable of doing and do. What we have now on our screen coming up right now is an older style unit. This older style unit, the picture's a little cropped here, but if you look towards the top of the camera box, the control box for the camera, you'll notice that there is a black device coming out. It's kind of like a tripod. And that device is microphones on the end of it. Now those microphones, depending on the software that's processing the voice and audio stream, could be very sophisticated. I suspect that it is. And quite capable of listening to you through an open window or even a closed window of your home or business. And that's police surveillance without any suspicion whatsoever. And there's nothing to indicate, don't let someone tell you, well, the police aren't looking. If they really didn't want to look and wanted to assure the public, they could just simply, at the bottom of the glass dome, put a plate, put a simple strip, that no way could that camera see through that strip and into the homes and businesses and apartments of people that are under no suspicion whatsoever. But they don't do that. And the reason why they don't do that is because they are looking. Now in this example of a camera, this was the second example that you've just seen, and that was located on Chicago's northwest side at the intersection of Foster and Western Avenue. That camera is of a different design. You'll notice at the top of the pole, that camera should be on your screen now, at the top of the pole there is no antenna. So you might say, well, the police can't be looking then, right? Well, wrong. They can. They just do it a different way. They have to go through a central location, and though maybe there's a corresponding code number on a clipboard for that particular intersection's camera. And again, it has a 360-degree view. They can zoom in or out up to 3 blocks and get the same information and surveillance capabilities that they would with the one with the antenna. And by the way, the next 2 examples in the film at Vaughan and Western as well as Touhy and Western are also the same style of the camera that was just shown on your screen. I'd like to touch on the Big Brother issue. And Mayor Daley, Democratic mayor of the city of Chicago, has been mayor for a good part of his life now of that city. And he assured us about 15 months, well, let's see, it's been about 2 years they've been putting the cameras up. When he started putting this style of camera up, he assured us it wouldn't be Big Brother, they're not going to be putting cameras in our homes. Yet, as we see now with the news story that's coming up on the screen presently, we see that that's not exactly true. Less than 15 months later, there's Mayor Daley saying, well, after all, it would be a good idea to have some Big Brother there and put the cameras inside of your home and inside of your businesses, or at least as they're doing now in the common ways of large apartment buildings and business buildings in downtown Chicago. And on North Lakeshore Drive and South Shore Drive, they're putting cameras up, the police. But they've been doing this for a few years. Even on older buildings, they'll put police cameras up and pay the landlord some money so they can install a camera. Like in East Rogers Park, they have some buildings that do that. You can see them off of the Red Line train. I thought I would put this video together just to demonstrate to people who I've run into from time to time that say, well, InfoWarrior, there's no cameras. I live in Chicago and there's no cameras. Well, either that person is lying or that person is, like I said in the video, is blind as a bat. For as I've demonstrated, and let anyone call me out, and they can just simply make their own video and show us how these cameras are not at these intersections. Although I doubt that'll happen because those cameras do exist. They are part of reality, and people are learning to live with them. And what's so frightening to me about this is that these cameras and their positions where they're at are just this far away from putting the camera from the pole, and we'll take that camera and put it in your living room, or we'll put it in your bathroom, or we'll put it in every room. We'll put a camera in every room. How about that, folks? It's for the children. And if they don't have children, we'll tell them it's for the fighting terrorists and crime, because after all, there are no terrorists, so we got to find some justification for this huge police apparatus that employs so many people and has now become such a big part of our economy that they have to find justification. Thus, they have to fight crime. And what is crime? Well, now it's throughout the state of Illinois, as well as in a couple dozen other states, You can't smoke within 15 feet of any business or doorway where smoking's banned. That's a crime. They're already talking about, in many states, they've already passed rather laws that say, well, if you're smoking around foster children, you can't smoke around them. Next will be, well, any children. And we've seen stories about children that have, we've seen stories rather about smoking bans in your vehicle while children are present. Well, that's a crime. I picked that because that's something that is a legal activity, and they're turning it into an illegal activity while at the same time saying it's legal to do. It's a very unusual set of circumstances, setting very dangerous precedents. Here we are at Devon and Western Avenue, and again, one of those cameras, and there's apartments up there, as well as apartments up there, right across from the camera. And here we are once again on location in Chicago, Illinois, and we're now at Western Avenue and Touhy. And again, we have one of these cameras with the 360-degree view, and then if we pan from this location, we have apartments upstairs here, right across the street, as well as apartments at the next corner away from the camera there. I'll zoom in on that. And apartments across the street next to the bar down there. And then once again, there's your camera. Nothing blocking it from looking. If you look at the glass dome at the bottom there, there's nothing blocking it at all from looking in any direction. This is the police state, and this is tantamount to putting a camera in your home. The next step will be that camera is in your home or your apartment. And that's what I'm trying to demonstrate. I further would like to point out, since I'm standing here, is that if anyone tries to tell you that I live in Chicago and I've never seen these cameras, you're paranoid, you're crazy, you know to not waste your time speaking to that person anymore. Because now, because of this film, you have seen the cameras for yourself. The person you're speaking to is either blind as a bat, or they just refuse to see them. But why waste your time talking to somebody who can't see this? We're over here in Skokie, Illinois at Kostner and Touhy Avenue. And I happen to notice in front of the Starbucks, it looks like they could use a little enlightenment here. So I just happen to always carry with me some Alex Jones videos, and we'll put them right here in this little box. And there you go, we got 2 Alex Jones videos in this box in front of the Starbucks on this little strip mall here.
Well, in answer to your first question, I think the major problem now is what seems to be some type of military attack on Iran. It looks, the ABC News reported that Bush has signed a, one of these covert action findings against Iran, and the reports seem to indicate that they're going to attack Iran. I still think we have some time to head that off. I think we have to do everything humanly possible to stop it. One, it could get completely out of control, and that whole area over there in the Persian Gulf could simply blow up. And two, undoubtedly, Bush will then use that as an excuse to further his police state tactics here in the United States.
Exactly. That's the plan.
In martial law.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Say it again.
If not, at some point culminating in martial law. If, for example, if there is hostilities between the United States and Iran initiated by the Bush administration. Let's suppose Iran responds with one of those silkworm missiles against the U.S. aircraft carrier in the Gulf and takes it out, or a destroyer. Bush would ask for a formal declaration of war from Congress, which he would probably get. And at that point, he would be, quote, a constitutional dictator, unquote. There's an entire title of the United States Code that gives the president dictatorial powers in time of a formally declared war.
And he has methodically been exercising and preparing and funding the implementation of that, has he not, Doctor?
That's correct. As a matter of fact, after it's already been reported.